Yo, what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we got a hot one for you. We're going to be finally doing some more deep dives on heroes. This video is going to be covering heroes skill order. Yes, we will eventually get to talent pages as well, and then I'll kind of give you some preferred talent orders for each of the heroes. But today we're going to mainly be focusing on skills. Right, so we're going to be giving you a skill order for each of the heroes. I will have timestamps in the video and also the chapter title cards, which you can find on the bottom of the play bar. We will start off going in order of elites, epics, and then legendaries. Before we get started, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell, and of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description right down below. And then eventually we'll get to pairings and things like that as well. Now, the purpose of this video, before we really start, I'm just going to put it on Kella because we'll start with her, or it could be Kea if the double L turns into a Y. Purpose is really to help you familiarize with the heroes and kind of understand where the value is. Now, some heroes might have a possible optional secondary skill order that you could do depending if you want to forego a certain route. And we'll touch on those as they come up. First one here is going to be Kella. Overall gather support for Kella. The order I have here for her is 2, 3, 4, 1. Reason being, and just so you know, orders, again, we're just numbering the skills 1 through 4 left to right. Pretty simple. So the first one's going to be 1, second 2, third 3, and then fourth 4. Even though I pretty much said the same thing there. So 2, 3, 4, 1 is what we want. So 2 is going to be the gather speed bonus and then gold gather speed bonus. 3 is going to be Legion load capacity bonus, because by getting a load capacity bonus, that means that you're going to be able to gather more of a resource earlier rather than later, meaning that you might not necessarily have to be at a certain level threshold. An example is, let's say that in order to max gather a level 3 node, maybe you have to be at level 30. By having a load capacity bonus, that means that your level can be lower and you'll be able to do a max gather sooner on a certain capacity for a tile. So again, 2, 3, 1, 4 here, and then we go 1, which is going to be her rage skill, right? Slows and inflicts gloom on enemy legion, reduces their attack by 20%, and their march speed by 30% for 4 seconds. And then we go 4, which is reduces all damage taken by Kella's legion by 10%. This can go up and reduces the number of severely wounded units for both her legion and the enemy's legion by 3%. This can go up to 15%, leaving those units lightly wounded instead. Again, with this in mind, right, Kella is probably going to be more predominant on the gathering side. It doesn't mean that you still couldn't possibly use her in a legion. It's just, usually with the elites, it's less likely unless they just have something that's really prominent for some skills to use. And even then, that might only be in, possibly a 5th march, if so. Given that there's enough right now between epics and legendaries, right, to field, right? If you think about it, you have 5 legions, 2 heroes per, right? That's 10. You, at the moment, have 8 epics and 9 legendaries, right? So you have 17 heroes there, right? You can pretty much mix and match. Okay, then we'll move on to the next ones. So here we got Chakcha. Chakcha is also a gather. Now in Chakcha's case, there's 2 options. You can do a 2, 3, 1, 4, or you can do a 2, 4, 3, 1. So if we're looking at, and the reason I like starting with the 2 is because, again, it's your gather speed and a legion capacity bonus. So it's kind of a 2 for 1 that you get. And then if we do 3, that's defense bonus. 1 is your counterattack damage. Now, the reason I like the defense bonus is because if you're gathering, right, you get the auto defense bonus there. Instead of, again, not realizing, because you're probably not going to be using Chakcha for the most part. Again, you might throw him in a legion just because of the counterattack and the rage accumulation. Doesn't mean that you would probably run him as a primary, but maybe if you're infantry and you're trying to run like a more sustained counterattack damage comp, for example, right? Like just to throw something out there, right? If you look at Madeline, oh gosh, hang on, where's her thing, right? So Madeline's 3rd skill is a Steel Sentinel, right? So it's infantry HP bonus, and then you're running counterattack damage bonus, right? So you look at the 15% on top of Chakcha and his, right, which goes up to 15, right? You're looking at 30% counterattack when the actives go, when his active goes off, and then Madeline's passive that's happening. So, right, that's not bad if, you're trying to almost kind of run what's the example? People talk about running like trap cities in, I can't remember if it's in Lords Mobile or another game, maybe State of Survival. But it's something kind of like that, right? Where you're running kind of a heavy counterattack damage comp to where you're running sustain, but you're doing more damage to a backline, right? And then hopefully you're able to, maybe if you combine that with things like heals and shields, for example, you can actually end up doing a decent amount of counterattack damage overall, right? It's kind of like trying to find sneaky ways to figure that. If you also combine that with certain talents, right? I'm sure you can kind of see where I'm going. You might be able to get that percentage up higher than 30, right? Maybe you can get it to 40, 45%. That's not bad for counterattack damage, right? And this just kind of goes to show, as an example here, that there are very creative ways to go about thinking on how you want to set up certain comps. Then you get to the fourth skill, which is HP bonus and healing factor. It says increases the HP of Chakcha's Legion by 2% and automatically heals the Legion's lightly wounded units after defeating an enemy Legion. Now, unless you're going to be running, I don't even know, an example would be, maybe you're going to run Chakcha with ranged, as an example, right? Because maybe you're really good at microing and kiting, and you can disengage pretty quick. Maybe you want to run Chakcha with a flying unit, so that way you can just kind of go around and snipe, and then you get some nice heals afterwards. I can also see you running Chakcha with an infantry-based unit, right? Something that's more kind of tank and sustain. However, usually frontline units may not last as long as ranged because you just don't have you don't have as many disengage options, right? Okay, then let's move to Ordo. The Ordo here, this one is 3214. And I say that because of the gather speed and the Legion capacity, right? So then we go 2, which is engineering bonus. Not something that you're necessarily going to need immediately. I think the gather is more valuable in my opinion. And then you're going to the 1, which is the shield factor. Again, something that you can run, right? If you're thinking about, like, another example, right? Ordo, right? You got the shield factor from his 5 seconds to absorb maximum amount of damage. Again, you go back to Madeline, just as an example. Shield factor absorb is 1200. So you're looking at 1200 plus the 4, right? You're looking at 1600. Unless the shields, it depends. Obviously, the shields aren't going to stack on a combined, but it's going to be like one shield goes and then the other shield goes. So again, I'm not sure if it's like you have to kill one shield and then it goes to the next, or maybe it does a combined. I feel like it could be the former. But the idea is that when you have a good understanding of all the skills, just like we talked about with Chakcha and the Madeline example, you can argue this is another good example on kind of double stacking certain things, using them in other capacities, just being creative in your approach. Then you go to skill 4, which is damage taken reduction, reduces all damage taken by Ordo's Legion by 3% up to 10%. This damage reduction is doubled when the Legion is building or destroying infrastructure or gathering resources, right? That kind of rounds out our elites. All right, then let's get to epics. So we're going to start with Alwyn. So Alwyn is magic PvP control. The order I have him for here is actually pretty standard. I have him at 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll explain why. So active skill is very far. This deals skill damage to the target legion, one legion, and ensnares them, dealing magic skill damage every second and reducing their march speed by 10% for 3 seconds, right? So skill damage factor, and then you have the continuous damage that happens every second for 3 seconds. So you're getting the continuous damage factor, which is 100, right? So you're doing 300 of that plus 6, right? So you're looking at 900 total. Second skill, all magic units in Alwyn's Legion gain 4% magic attack and 4% HP. This can go up to 10%. The reason I like going still the active first is because of the general damage that you get from far range, the ensnare, and just kind of the max damage that you get from the active. I just don't know if it really justifies going and trying to do a 2 first with only 10% increases. Then you look at the third skill, which is normal attack damage taken reduction. Alwyn's Legion takes 5% up to 15% less normal attack damage on the field. You could make an argument that third skill could maybe even be your first. It's just, again, as you get higher in tiers of units, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to kind of reach for those unless you're all-inning your resources more or less on kind of one epic at a time, and then even more difficult to do that with legendary. So even though I'll let you know what I think the order should be, it just is up to you if you want to commit to that, or you just kind of want to go the standard route of we'll level up the first skill, then we'll max out the second, then we'll do the third. Then we get to the fourth skill. Fiend of the Hemlock. When attacked, Alwyn has a 3% chance, this can go up to 15% chance, to ensnare the target legion, dealing magic skill damage every second and reducing march speed by 10% for 3 seconds, right? So again, you're dealing magic skill damage. The factor is 100, affected by your legion's magic attack. Now, I want to point something out here. You're often going to see skills that will say affected by legion's magic attack, affected by legion's physical attack. You're basing that off of your magic units, right? So or magic or physical units. An example would be this. If I go in to my units, and we talked about this, right? We see certain units have physical attack, and then certain units have magic attack, right? So this is what that's being based off of. And so it's important to know that when you're looking at these specific units, those are really important to make sure that you are focusing on using not only the appropriate unit type to make sure that you're scaling correctly, right? Depending on the damage that you want to do. But also because when you are correctly assigning your comps and doing it appropriately when it comes to the additional hero, or this, I should say, the deputy as well, right? You can use that as a way to kind of double impact that front. And so that's why I say it's really important to read skills. Okay. And then I think that was Alwyn there, and that was the fourth. Now we're going to go to, what do I got? Atheus. So Atheus is going to be the next. This is Magic PvP Mobility. Right, again, one of your range. I think Kregg is our other range as well. Atheus, I got 1, 2, 4, 3 here for him. So 1 is going to be his, again, very far range, deals, this is just kind of straight target, single target skill damage up to 800. And then we have, what did I say here? 1, 2, 4, 3. So I got 2, which is extra rage gain. I like this. Launching a normal attack has a 30% chance to grant Atheus 20 up to 60 rage. I really like this. I say this because it almost makes it almost kind of feel like you're running a ranged sniper, right? Type unit that just has a chance to just get a bunch of active procs off. And then we go 4, which I like here for him because of the march speed bonus and the damage taken reduction. The reason I like going 4 over 3 mainly is because if you're kind of operating in a single unit or a 5 Legion type setup, or maybe you're going around with other flying units, I like the fact that you're moving around quickly, right? I think kind of operating that is really important because it'll help you get to places a lot more efficiently when you're running that type of unit, if you decide that that might just be your playstyle over the other. Third skill last with the HP bonus and the healing receive bonus is that you just have to be running artifacts and or others that are going to be factoring into that. And so I just think that you're going to get more consistent usage out of the fourth skill over the third, but again, it can still be personal preference. Then we get to Alistair. So Alistair is Cav Rally Tank. Order I have for him is 1, 2, 4, 3. So again, I like upgrading his active. This is dealing, again, skill damage to a target legion, so single target, and 2 surrounding legions affected, right? So you have skill damage factor of 500, this goes up to 600, and then we go to skill 2, which is HP bonus and physical attack bonus, right up to 10%, and on both sides. And then we end up going to 4, and then 3. So 4 I like for the passive, which is when Alistair's Legion has over 50% units remaining, it has a 20% chance to gain riposte and passion when launching normal attacks, increasing counterattack damage up by 10%. This can go up to 30%, and rage accumulation by 10%. Again, can go up to 30% for 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 5 seconds. So you're thinking 3 second usage, 5%, 5 second reset. So you're looking at about an 8 second turnaround time. So again, that's what I like for him. Then we get to Bakhar, and oh gosh, let me make sure I have Bakhar. There we go. I was thinking I was like the ogre. And then we got infantry garrison skills for him. Bakhar I have listed as 1, 2, 3, 4. So just kind of a straight standard, right? Again, I like his active skill where you're dealing physical skill damage to the target legion. Damage factor is 300. This can go up to 600. And gains rampage, increasing all damage dealt by 4% up to 20% for 4 seconds. Then we got 2, which is all infantry units in this legion gain 3% attack and 3% defense. This goes up to 10% each, right? So it's a flat rate increase. When Bakhar's legion is attacked, they have a 10% chance to inflict gloom on the target, reducing their attack by 5% up to 25% for 4 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds. Then we go skill 4, which is reduces hero skill damage taken by the garrisoned army by 4% while garrisoned in a city or stronghold, and increases healing by 4%. This goes up to 15%. So that's why I like the 1, 2, 3, 4 here on Bakhar. Next we have here is going to be Eliana. So Eliana I have, again, as another Peacekeeper overall and support. Eliana I have as 2, 1, 3, 4. So I like the 2 because of the peacekeeping, and then 1, again, I like the shield factor, the physical skill damage factor, and the magic damage. And then we have 3, which is normal attack damage reduction, 10 to 30% for the max. And then 4, which is going to be a defense bonus, right? So when casting rage skills, your legion gains shelter, defense increases by 10% up to 30% over the next 5 seconds. And again, I like, for peacekeepers and gatherers, I like focusing more on the peacekeeping and the gathering skills, at least as far as kind of prioritizing them first over others, because I just feel like you're going to get more usage out of them in the early and mid game, and then potentially even in the late game. It just depends, because late game sometimes you might transition some of these as not necessarily skills, because you're going to max out skills eventually over a period of time. But when you get to things like talents, right, you might switch some of those up. Okay, then we get to Gwanwyn. So Gwanwyn, again, the Spring Warding, starting Peacekeeper, Marksman, and Precision. Very similar here with Gwanwyn. I have 2, 1, 4, 3. So I got 2, which is, again, for the Peacekeeping bonus, up to 50% for Darklings and Creatures. I got 1 here for the active skill, which is Chaotic Arrows, deals physical skill damage to the target legion 3 times in succession. And again, you have skill damage factor 200, final attack damage factor 400, right? So you're looking at 3 times in succession, right? 160, 160, 350. Eventually, this would be 200, 200, 400, so they're going to 800 factor. Then we get 3, which is Marksman Unit Physical Attack bonus, and then the Marksman Unit March Speed. I like this. The reason I like March Speed on archers and mages is because it really gives you more of that kiting, right? That kind of micro ability that you're able to do with those specific units, and that I actually really like. So here we go. Gwanwyn. Gwanwyn's Legion is 50% unit count or higher. Her units deal 3% up to 10% extra damage. Okay, then we're going to do Kregg. My boy Kregg, for me, is 1, 3, 2, 4. I like 1 because of the skill damage factor and the additional bomb factor, right? Deals skill damage to the target and deals additional physical skill damage to up to 2 nearby legions. It's interesting because there's quite a few heroes that have deal damage to a unit and then surrounding or additional units, right? You could arguably run like an AoE type legion setup if you're just trying to look to do a lot of kind of AoE damage. And so, which I guess kind of goes without saying from the first time I said AoE, but again, just kind of shows you other creative ways that you can kind of set up legions. And then we have increases Kregg's legion attack by 4%. So we have attack and defense bonus for up to 10%. When the unit, when the legion is composed entirely of flying units, they'll gain the 4% defense. And then we got 2, which is skill damage dealt and march speed bonus, right? So think about running flying units and having, march speed, being able just to kind of go over rivers, kite, go over passes, walls. Again, I like the idea. And honestly, if they get some more flying heroes in, which I'm sure they will, this could be exciting. We have Kregg's legions. Engineering is increased by 10% when building barracks and alliance buildings. Then we get to Waldyr. Waldyr is, I believe, our last epic here. He's magic PvP skills. So for Waldyr, I like, honestly, a basic 1, 2, 3, 4 is, I think, good enough on Waldyr, right? So you got the active, which is very far, deals skill damage to the target legion and 2 legions surrounding it, and inflicts gloom on them, reducing their attack by 12% for 2 seconds. This can go up to 20%, and skill damage factors for 300, but can go up to 600. And then we got 2, which is all magic units in Waldyr's Legion gain 3% magic attack and HP. This can go up to 10%, right? So that's a flat increase. 3, Waldyr's Legions deal 4%, but up to 15% hero skill damage. And then the last one is the shield factor. When skill damage is taken, grants a shield that can absorb a large amount of damage for the Legion, factor of 200 up to 600. This effect can be triggered once per 20 seconds. So you're not going to, hit it that often. I would imagine maybe you'll get this off twice, right? with this particular Legion, in a fight, maybe 3 times if you're fortunate, 1 time if you're getting single target focused. But it, again, is something that is a nice addition. Okay. Then we get to the 9 legendaries, right? So we're going to start with Bakshi. So Bakshi, I got 2, 1, 3, 4. Again, with the new Peacekeeper, Cav, and he has skills attached. 2 is going to be for the peacekeeping damage up to 30%. That's really good. And then we got the 1, which is for his active at near range, deals physical damage to the target Legion, and increases Bakshi's Legion HP by 10% for 5 seconds. This goes up to 20% skill damage, 700, but goes up to 1400. Then we got 3, which is Cavalry Unit HP bonus and Cavalry Unit physical attack bonus, right, up to 10% and then 12%, 20% respectively. And then we get to this 4 skill Shaman's Call, which is while in battle, Bakshi's Legion randomly gains either Ascension, Passion, or Spirit Siphon every 10 seconds, lasting for 5 seconds. So you're looking at a 15-second turnaround, right, where he'll gain an attack defense bonus, rage accumulation speed bonus, or healing factor, right? Where launching normal attacks grants healing, right? It's that nice little, oh gosh, what's that? I'm forgetting what the term is called. Lifesteal, right? I'm like, man, what's that term called in League, right? Kind of gaining lifesteal, which is kind of cool. And then we get to Emrys. So Emrys up here is Cav PvP mobility. Emrys I have at 1-3-4-2. Again, I like the active skill here for him going up to 1500 for the skill damage on a single target. 3, I like this because this is Cavalry Unit physical attack bonus and March speed bonus increase, which is flat, right? So you're looking at Cav Unit 30%, which is really good. Then you got the March speed, which is a nice complement. 4, which is damage dealt bonus and skill damage dealt bonus. Right, it says all damage dealt by Emrys' Legion is increased. Emrys also deals 5% more skill damage when attacking targets that have been surrounded, right? So it gives you a nice little bonus, right? If you're thinking about running more Cav, kind of speed Cav to try and maybe kite or kind of get to a back line surrounding archers as an example, something that or mages could be an option. Number 2, rage accumulation speed bonus. Emrys' Legion enters battle. They gain passion, increasing their rage accumulation speed by 20% for 5 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 30 seconds. The reason I have skill 2 as the last one is because it just takes too long to proc, in my opinion. I just don't know if getting up to 40% rage accumulation speed for 5 seconds, right every 30 seconds, which you're looking at a 35-second turnaround, that just seems long to me compared to other skills that we've seen. So that's why I have this as 4th. Then we get to Garwood. So Garwood here is infantry garrison tank. Garwood I have 1-3-4-2 as well. I like the active skill here, which is a healing factor, 500 up to 1200. It heals lightly wounded units in Garwood's Legion and grants them resistance, reducing all damage taken by 12% for 4 seconds, right? So you have to look at it like this, right? It says heals, again, this is an active, so it's going to do this every time. And again, reducing the damage taken, this is really good. Again, I could see you pairing Garwood with, a front line as an example, or even running him as a secondary, right? If you're thinking about maybe going kind of close infantry, just because you're going to end up getting, right, the nice healing factor, and the damage taken reduction is really good if you're looking to try and sustain a lot longer in that kind of a tank role. HP bonus 2% up to 10 increases the HP of all units in a garrisoned army while garrisoning a city or stronghold. It's not going to be too useful, obviously, in the kind of open field, but still good when you're looking at a garrison defense. Skill 3, which is increases the defense of all infantry units in this legion by 10%, and all healing they grant or receive by 10% up to 30%. Defense bonus is 20%. That's why we have Garwood as 1-3. 4, and then 2, right? 4 has 75% chance to increase physical damage dealt by 10% up to 30% for 5 seconds when healed. So again, you're looking at this as he can get this and because there's no downtime on this, right? The active could proc this, and then something like Spirit Staff could proc this, right? Tears of Arbin could proc this. So again, just kind of an interesting way to look at it. Then we get to Hosk. Hosk is overall rally precision. Hosk I have 1-3-4-2 as well. I like the active skill going first. Hosk Legion gains Keen, Vigor, and Rampage, increasing their attack by 10%, their HP by 10%, and their damage dealt by 3%, right? These max out at 20, 30, and 10, respectively, for 5 seconds. That's not bad. You're looking at attack bonus, HP bonus, damage dealt bonus. Then we go 3, which is Battle Scarred. Increases the Legion's defense by 10%. up to 25% when hero is a commander. And their normal attack damage, commander means the primary. And their normal attack damage by 15% up to 40% when hero is deputy / a secondary. So if they're leading a legion, right, then they're getting defense bonus. If they're the secondary, then that's increasing the normal attack damage of that legion up to 40%. That is not bad. I mean, arguably at all, right? I could actually see you running Hosk with someone like Nico with that range and then the increased attack speed. I mean, again, I like it. And then you got 2, which is, sorry, wait, did we hit 4? 4 is just increases max legion capacity, right? So that you can go from 2,000 up to 10,000, right? It's a way to kind of increase that if you're looking for more frontline sustain throughout a fight. And then 2, when launching a rally, Hosk normal attacks have a 50% chance to reduce the target's physical defense by 4% up to 15% for 3 seconds. Okay, then we get to Indis, which is one of the other new heroes next to Bakshi. Overall gather support. And I'm still in line with this as well, right? I mean, Indis, I still like the idea of 2, 1, 3, 4. However, I also understand how you might decide to do something, different with her if you really want and just go first skill. But I like 2, again, for the gather speed bonus, the wood speed, and then going 1 for her, which is going off her active, inflicts infirm on 3 legions in a designated circle, increasing all damage taken by 10% for 2 seconds, up to 20%, while also healing lightly wounded units and up to 2 surrounding legions. Healing factor is 150. So, again, this is wrong. This obviously should say healing factor. This is target damage taken bonus. I just don't know. That doesn't seem like the right thing for that to say, because this is 150, 150, 10, and 10. So I feel like this should be the heal amount. But again, you could still make the argument that running the first skill on Indis is really good. And then we get to 3, which is HP bonus and maximum legion capacity. And then 4, we get to when in battle, Indis' legion gains unyielding every 8 seconds, reducing counterattack damage taken by 20%. Up to 50% for 5 seconds and removing 1 debuff effect, right? So I like this, that if you're like, let's say you included Indis in a flying unit or something like that, right? And you're trying to hit infantry from the cliff and you just want to reduce the amount of counterattack damage that they're dishing out on you, right? I think, again, one option on how to possibly run, but I do like it. And then we go Liliya. So Liliya is our next, which is magic peacekeeping skills. Similar here with Liliya, I like the 2, 1, 3, 4. Because again, 2 damage dealt to darklings and creatures up to 30%. 1 deals magic skill damage to the target legion and another legion surrounding it. Again, has a 10% chance, this up to 50%, to scorch them, dealing magic skill damage every second for 5 seconds. Right, so you have another legion, again, and then you have to think about it, right? So damage, this is 600 up to 1,200 that you can do to a target legion, and then another legion, and you have the opportunity to scorch. So then we go 3, which is all magic units in Liliya's legion gain 10% up to 20%, and then 10%, right? So 20% magic attack, and then 10% HP. And then 4th is kind of a proc off of Scorch, off for the active, which when Liliya's legion launches a normal attack, they have a 10% up to 30% chance to scorch up to 2 surrounding enemy legions if the target legion is scorched, right? So, not bad. And then we get to Madeline. Madeline, just the beast, right? Madeline, I actually have her to 1, 2, 4, 3. I like the active, which we talked about before, right? The physical attack bonus to 20%, the shield factor at 1,200. And then we have 2, which is the max legion capacity bonus up to 10,000, physical damage dealt bonus at 10%. And then I got the 4, which is... right, when the commanded legion has less than 20% units remaining, grants a resistance that reduces all damage taken by 10% up to 30%. Skill 3 is all counterattack damage your hero's legion deals is increased by 5% up to 15%, and then counterattack damage, and then infantry HP is 5 to 15. Now that I think about it, though, if you're running frontline, you're probably going to get hit by a lot of range, so I actually could see you just doing a standard 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Then we get to Nico. Nico, my boy, man, the marksman, right? Love it. Marksman, engineering, precision. For Nico, I got a 1, 3, 4, 2 for him. I like starting off with the active, deals physical skill damage to the target legion, 700 up to 1,400, and inflicts defense break, reducing the defense by 5% up to 15% for 3 seconds. And then we go what did I say? 3-4-2, right? So we go 3, which is marksman unit physical attack bonus and marksman unit defense bonus increase up to 20 and 10%. And then 4, because the attack speed bonus when casting rage skills, your legion's attack speed is increased by 10% up to 20% for 3 seconds. This effect can only be triggered once every 3. And then we go 2, because that's the engineering bonus, right? So I like Nico, honestly, a little bit more in the field because of his skills more so than the engineering. So that's just why I have you kind of doing that last. And then the last one here is going to be Nika, which is our Peacekeeper. And again, as similar, I like my Peacekeepers at 2, 1, 3, 4 in most cases. This is obviously one of those cases as well. I like this because of the 30% extra damage to Darkling creatures. And then we go for the active on Nika, which is deals physical skill damage to the target legion, factor of 1500 at max, and bruises them, reducing their HP by 30% for 3 seconds. And then we go 3, which is infantry unit physical attack bonus and march speed bonus, 20% and 10% respectively. And then the last skill for 4 is increases hero's skill damage dealt by Nika's legion by 4% up to 10% and counterattack damage by 20%. I should have said up to 20%. So yeah, man, so much creativity here that my mind is already going off of. But again, I'm sure some of these will help. Some of these will be okay. But that was really what my hope was here, was to try and give you guys a breakdown and an idea on why I think it's important to kind of skill order heroes in certain ways if you're reading and understanding what those skills are. Some of you might have some variations on what I've recommended, but I hope at least you can understand the rationale and the logic behind what we're reading, why the orders that I recommended based on the usage depending on their attributes, right, can make sense from at least one perspective. Just in this case, it happens to be mine. And with that in mind, that is it for me. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this video was a little bit longer, but again, we're going over every single hero here in order. I'm going to try and have our talent one to be a little bit less, where I'm just kind of showing those and giving brief descriptions, then just kind of moving on to the next one, so that way we're not going to be here for days. I would love to hear what you guys think, right? Let me know if you have a specific skill order that might vary or differ from mine, and let me know the reasons why. Maybe some of you don't care to skill up the peacekeeping skills. Maybe some of you don't care to skill up the gathering skills and you would rather just focus those on the actives and then the other PvP skills for those specific hero types. Right? Let me know anything and everything in those comments below. That is it for me. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.